Prime Minister says don't wait for handouts. Applications open for postal voting. And stay order on arrest extended.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Monday's news. Prime Minister James Marape, on a recent visit to Tambul Nebilia in Western Highlands Province, has urged Papua New Guineans to be economically independent. He explained that governments will not always give free handouts or pay for their children's school fees. The national government will soon introduce a new concept that will allow tertiary students to get loans from the government to pay their school fees and repay after they work.
Prime Minister James Marape says under his term as Prime Minister, he will make sure that he distributes wealth equally to all the provinces and districts. But this does not come free. Those districts and provinces involved in agriculture or small and medium enterprises activities and are eager to receive development will be the ones receiving more funding and services.
We encourage every Papua New Guinean citizen, lose him gun, lose him law and order, pick up agriculture, pick up tourism, pick up a business. No one complain that some Sinaman can make him. You here too must make him too.
Prime Minister Marape says those who wish to fight or cause law and order problems in the electorates or provinces will be the least developed ones. The national government is spending 30 to 40% of the country's budget every year to maintain law and order problems in the country. By saying that, Mr. Marape said he will be in Hela this week to address law and order issues in the province with the recent killing of a police officer.
You like more money captured you all in peace tab yet.
Mr. Marape said the national government will soon introduce a new loan scheme which will allow tertiary students to take out loans. This will ease financial burdens parents are going through and to also stop the attitude of expecting local MPs to pay their children's school fees.
James Marape no believe law free something. Me believe law shared equity now work one time. You must work one time. Sharing responsibility.
The Prime Minister said local farmers in each electorate in PNG will be given seedlings to farm and make use of their land. After farming, markets will be made available to sell their produce so that they can earn money from their hard work. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
In preparation for the commencement of polling in the upcoming referendum, the Bougainville Referendum Commission has opened postal voting applications. The postal voting option is only available to eligible voters who cannot access a polling site during the official polling period. According to Acting Chief Referendum Officer Desmond CNI, the BRC wants to ensure that everyone has a chance to participate in the referendum. As such, it is making sure people can exercise their rights if they are travelling away from home or if they are not healthy or mobility would otherwise make it difficult for them to get to a polling place during the official voting period. Any enrolled voter can apply for a postal vote if they are located more than 16 kilometers away from the nearest polling booth during the polling period, are seriously ill, infirmed, disabled, or hold religious beliefs that prevent them from attending a polling booth to vote on a particular day. Applications for postal voting can be received up to and including November the 22nd. Papua New Guinea is rated the 10th most vulnerable country prone to the negative effects of climate change. However, funding restriction has prevented action to deliver specific climate change mitigation and adaptation actions in the country. Today, a 3-day workshop began which sees different sectors learning about how to access the Green Climate Fund.
The 3-day workshop that started today is a platform to strengthen partnerships and talk about the status of the establishment of the Green Climate Fund. Climate Change and Development Authority Managing Director Ruel Yamuna stressed that funding continues to be a hindrance to the complete action of mitigation and adaptation.
And help them access consistent and adequate climate financing from the Green Climate Fund, amongst other climate financing sources. So this workshop builds on that round of regional consultations this year.
The Green Climate Fund is a global account that supports mitigation and adaptation projects. However, it requires countries to establish their own GCF program and procedures within the country.
Bring financing for the country to address climate change, which is a major crisis for the country because of the vulnerability the country is facing due to serious impacts of climate change.
Earlier this year, CCDA conducted regional consultations.
During those round of regional consultations, we engaged with different stakeholders on what the priorities were and what the challenges were in terms of accessing much needed support.
With the findings, the next 3 days will be all about sector priorities, GCF criteria for establishment in PNG, and strengthening climate change partnerships.
To go into the provinces as well as all the communities and people in the country to help them to build their resilience, as well as help them to build their livelihood in a more greener, climate compatible way.
Lilian Sopera Kinea, National EMTV News.
The National Court in Port Moresby has extended the stay order preventing police from arresting former Prime Minister Peter O'Neill until Friday the 25th of October. The matter went before Justice Nicholas Maveri for a directions hearing this morning. The initial stay order was granted last Thursday after Mr. O'Neill asked the National Court to seek the validity of the warrant of arrest and told the court the charges against him were defective. These allegations upon which the arrest warrant was issued were regarding payments made by the National Gaming Control Board to Yagao Lutheran Rural Hospital in Madang. The matter will return to court next Thursday, the 31st of October. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more right after these messages. Welcome back to National EMTV News. The Department of Lands and Physical Planning is working on a new look state lease title with security features to avoid the duplication of titles. Lands and Physical Planning Minister John Rosso made the announcement recently. He also announced various reform initiatives that his ministry is undertaking.
This title security initiative was made possible with technical support from the Australian government through the Department of Foreign Affairs. Through this initiative, all land records are now being scanned and stored electronically. Lands Minister John Rosso said this is to solve the problems of missing files in the department.
To ensure that most of our titles are put in a safe place so that they cannot be misused or misapplied. We are now looking on a new look state lease title with security features to avoid duplication of titles. This will solve the problem of missing files and abuse of the process inside the Department of Lands and Physical Planning.
According to the minister, the department's automated system will be in use starting next year. Through this system, land title transfer and mortgage registration will be processed electronically. The minister says this will help increase revenue generated by the department.
The Lands Department last year collected approximately 27 million. In our opinion, and we know realistically, we can triple or quadruple that size, and that is what we aim to do looking forward with a much more efficient electronic system, giving out billing and collecting the billing, working in conjunction with the Finance Department.
One major reform the department is embarking on is the Strata title bill. Strata titling, once introduced, will allow units and apartments in urban centers to be issued title. This will also encourage more high-rise buildings and to maximize the use of state land. According to the minister, a stakeholder consultation is currently underway.
Another important issue is the Strata title. Currently, we do not have titles for apartments and subleases and stuff like that. So moving forward with the Strata title, similar to the Australian system, is a way forward for us, and it increases better ownership for people who live in units.
The minister also highlighted the need to amend laws administered by the department to be compatible with the changing environment.
Most laws administered by the Department of Lands and Physical Planning is outdated. We have adopted laws that are now nearly prehistoric. We are now looking at amending some of these laws to have it compatible with the new changing environment. And in the modern world, we need to adjust our laws to suit our country also. So it'll be a win-win for our country in adjusting our laws moving forward.
Rayon Lakingu, National MTV News.
Vice Minister for Agriculture and Livestock, Connie Igwan, has pledged to help revive the Arab Agriculture Resource and Development Center in Morobe Province. The center used to be one of the suppliers of livestock through the Livestock Development Corporation. Today, the center is run down and almost nearing its closure.
We must look at reviving Arab Station and putting in more livestock into this place, because I think protein is one of the problems we have in food consumption. If you can see on a full plate, bowl of plate served by a mother, you will see taro, you will see rice, you will see banana, and you will only see one piece of a chicken on a large food of energy foods. If we have strong foods like banana, taro, rice on a full plate, we must have enough greens on a plate, and we must add enough protein. And Arab Station has been one of the stations that it developed livestock in Papua New Guinea. They have a legacy.
Families, food lovers, the Korean community and dignitaries of other Pacific and international countries gathered yesterday at the Karata Secondary School to celebrate the second year of the Korean Food Festival. On display were photos of Korean towns and cities and food. The aim of the event, to promote Korean culture here in PNG.
The Korean Food Festival began with the introduction and disseminating of Korea's rich culture via exotic Korean food and film. Despite connections through people to people, Korean Embassy has also decided to go beyond just meeting people, but also to promote its culture and tradition. The food festival is organized for one to fully understand and appreciate the Korean culture and lifestyle.
And actually, this event was organized to promote the relationship between our two countries. And then people-to-people contact is the best way to promote awareness of each countries.
On display were photos of cities and towns in Korea, as well as pictures of traditional Korean food that attracted food lovers to see, and for those first-timers to see and taste as well. Ambassador Kang Kim-gu says the relationship between PNG and Korea is going strong. He says the Korean Embassy in PNG has helped a lot through its programs, such as the exchange programs.
Photo is from Korea, and then because there are many people who would like to see the Korea, but they have had no chance so far. So in that sense, we would like to make them understand Korea more vividly. So that's why we have brought the photos for you. We are open to many programs back in Korea, and then the embassy is ready to invite the Papua New Guineans to visit Korea.
From looking at the photos of Korean food to snacks and not forgetting the tasting of the local delicacies, a short film from Korea for guests to watch. Ambassador Kang Kim-gu says Papua New Guineans are welcome to visit Korea, see it firsthand and experience the true nature of Korean food at its best.
But sooner or later, we would like to organize this kind of event in other cities, including Modeng, Ley, and Goroka. We are thinking about it, but still the cultural exchange is the priority for us. So later on, we will think about it.
This year is the second year for Korean Embassy to host the food festival. Godwin Eki, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. It's Monday. We go for another break. When we come back, we'll have more, including some stories making headlines overseas. Welcome back to National MTV News. The unexpected death of a police officer in Hela Province while on duty has left his family members in shock. Family representatives today gathered at the 6 Mile police station in Port Moresby to explain to the media that they want a proper investigation to take place and those responsible be arrested.
Family members of late Sergeant David Hale, who died in Hala Province last week Tuesday, came out to the media saying his death was tragic and they wanted proper investigations to be done. The family members also said that they were a peaceful people from the south side of Chimbu and were not responsible for any incidents that happened during his death, especially the roadblocks along the Highlands Highway.
People are all peaceful line. People are loving law. People are line behind him law na. People are like troubles him law yet. And we can walk long investigate. Now said man, all his staff, all involved in this like killing. Law yet by walk na go holy months line na.
Late Sergeant David Hale, 45, from Chimbu Province, has been with the police mobile squad in Hala Province for the last 23 years since he graduated from Bomana Police College. One of the late sergeant's brother, Sandy Nagare, said his late brother had served the people of Hala till his death. He says he has left his wife and 8 kids under the ages of 15, who are currently at the house cry in Tari at their family home. Henny Gomoro, who is also one of the brothers, said the body is currently at Goroka Funeral Home and the house cry in Port Moresby will be at 6 Mile.
At this moment, it's the body and state body. Maybe not family, but not total is the body yet. Until and when officially hand over take over the Hela provincial government, on the police department, they got a provincial administration along Chimbu province. All officially hand over take over the body of Chimbu provincial government past them. Now after the Chimbu provincial government by hand over body coming from family now, and we'll never receive it.
Michelle Stephen, National EMTV News.
The Morobe province has registered 180,000 people under the NID project. However, there are still delays in obtaining the NID cards. National Planning Minister Sam Basil said they will be working on improving the capacity of regional officers to improve this process. Today, Minister Basil visited the NID office to commission a generator and vehicle and also addressed people who were there to collect their NID cards.
The Morobe province has the second highest number of NID registrations in the country at 180,000. These are people who are here to collect and check on the status of their NID cards after registration. Some of them registered last year and others in the previous years. Today, National Planning Minister Sam Basil visited the Momase Regional Office in Leh and spoke to some of these people. The regional office only does the registrations, however, the information and cards are processed in Port Moresby. Minister Basil said the capacity of the regional office has to be increased to improve NID services.
Because something Mipla must improve the operation of Mipla, make sure that Mipla process him all man quick now. Make sure that turnaround time, pick him card, maybe no longer than 2 or 3 months.
Today, a new vehicle and a 15 kVA generator were also commissioned for the regional office in Leh. This is to improve mobility of registration teams and ensure reliable power supply. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
Still in Leh, the West Tarka Urban Clinic is still closed since the building was vacated in July this year. The clinic stopped operations because the building would undergo upgrades funded by the ADB and Australian government at a cost of 9 million kina. More than 20,000 people from 3 districts in Morobe who access the health services at the clinic are now seeking treatment at 6 other clinics in the city.
The West Taraka Clinic is one of the 2 urban clinics in Leh that was chosen by the Health Division to be upgraded with proper health facilities. The upgrading of the West Taraka Urban Clinic was funded by the Asian Development Bank, or ADB, and the Australian government through the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade at a cost of 9 million kina.
Since long July coming up now, housing all contractor all biyan man all apply lo contract na all tender na all by winim na all by kam na mibla wait yet na ino ka one feedback ikam lo upside to na plan di man meri blum blek simbakarablo here.
The building housing the clinic was originally a community hall and was later converted into a clinic. There has been no maintenance or development for over 20 years until operations stopped in July this year for upgrade. There were 11 staff who have worked here, serving a population of over 20,000 people from East and West Taraka, Uniblock and other patients who also come from as far as Nadzab seeking treatment.
Since we expect him company lo come na ino come yet na. Also na mi ask him this line go pass long and please you bla come back na talk sa advise me bla one process or one send him delay on this plan na mi
Pick Island to pick the right contractors. I think the contractors have been chosen and it's just a matter of time and the project should get off the ground anytime this month or next month.
The Provincial Program Advisor for Health, Micah Yawing, told MTV News today that other clinics must not turn away patients who access services at the West Taraka Clinic. He said a circular would be issued to these clinics to assist the patients until the West Taraka Urban Clinic would be ready to use.
The facility will be built in such a way that all those requirements in terms of corporate governance, clinical governance, and public health will be properly coordinated and implemented to provide quality of service to people.
Julie Badui Owa, National MTV News, Ley.
Turning overseas now, hundreds of captives who were beaten, abused and held in squalid conditions at a purported Islamic school in northern Nigeria escaped prior to a raid this week. Police in northern Nigeria rescued nearly 70 men and boys from a school where they were shackled and subjected to inhumane and degrading treatment.
Raid in Katsina, the northwestern home state of President Muhammadu Buhari, came less than a month after about 300 men and boys were freed from another supposed Islamic school in neighboring Kaduna state, where they were allegedly tortured and sexually abused. The raid occurred on October 12th in Sabon Garin, in the Daura local government area of Katsina state. Police issued a statement on Monday saying they were working to reunite the victims with their families. Lawal Ahmad, a 33-year-old who was held captive, said he witnessed sexual assault, beatings and the death of other captives during his 2 years there. Islamic schools, known as al-Majiris, are common across the mostly Muslim north of Nigeria. Muslim Rights Concern, or MURIC, a local organization, estimates that about 10 million children attend them. In June, President Buhari himself, a Muslim, said the government planned to ban the schools, but would not do so immediately. After the incident in Kaduna, the president issued a statement calling on traditional authorities to work with government to expose unwanted cultural practices that amount to the abuse of children. A freed captive told reporters that the instructors beat, raped and even killed the men and boys held at the facility, who ranged from 7 to 40 years of age. While the institution told parents it was an Islamic teaching center that would help straighten out unruly and wayward family members, the instructors instead brutally abused them and took away any food or money sent by relatives. Buhari's office declined to immediately comment on the Katsina raid, saying it would issue a statement after a full briefing from police. Police say they have arrested the owner of the facility and 2 teachers and are tracking other suspects. Helen Sea, MTV World News.
The Pacific island of Niue is trialling drones to catch illegal fishing boats and help with search and rescue. Kiwi company Xcraft has provided the expertise and technology expected to be a game changer for the region.
Remote and vast, Niue's ocean holds a wealth of resources. Protecting them is a major challenge.
For the majority of the time, we don't have, a way of keeping eyes on the sea here. So, we're excited to try the drones, operating them out of Niue.
Auckland-based Xcraft has been running the trials using cutting-edge technology.
So what we're talking about is shrinking down the ability for any illegal fishing to go undetected. connected. So you got it from space, you've got it from the air, and you can have it from the ocean as well.
And this is how it could work. Low Earth orbit satellites take images of the area, identifying anything of interest. Then a drone is sent out to those coordinates to investigate, filming evidence of illegal activity if necessary.
Images from space are all very well. They can refine it, but you really need to get the close-up detailed data if it's going to proceed in court.
As well as drones, unmanned boats and hydrophones which sense activity under the ocean's surface are also being tested. It's crucial as 40% of Niue's exclusive economic zone is closed to commercial fishing.
We often have to think outside the box because we don't have all the assets and capabilities that larger developed countries have.
The unmanned aircraft seen here conducting a night operation is cost effective. It also opens up new possibilities for search and rescue, finding an ailing vessel or person and rescuing them.
The exciting thing is the technology that goes with this and the potential for us to apply the technology in other areas.
And also in other Pacific countries which face the same challenges, because what works in Niue could also be an answer across the region.
To the US, and Seattle's Pike Place market attracts throngs of tourists every day, but follow a cobbled street down beneath the market and you'll discover something altogether less wholesome: Seattle's infamous gum wall.
More than just a wall. It's a 50-yard stretch of alleyway whose walls are covered in gum, left behind by visitors. The tradition started in the early 1990s, and after a couple of futile attempts to get rid of the gum, market administrators declared the gum wall a tourist attraction in 1999. Visitors don't just leave their gum. They use the wall to make art and leave messages for people. It's even used as a spot to declare love. For one visitor from Colorado, seeing the gum wall was the fulfillment of a long-cherished dream.
I think the gum wall is absolutely incredible. It's way bigger than I thought it would be, and I think it's just a really excellent place to be. I mean, I've been wanting to come here for many, many years now, so to finally be here and see all the gum and see the people enjoying the gum, it's really cool.
30 years on from its inception, the gum wall continues to delight and disgust in equal measure.
The smell is undescriptive, actually. Coming down this alley, it gives you a big whiff of something interesting. You definitely smell the gum, but you smell the age of the gum, ironically, so it's interesting.
I think it's really colorful, but a little bit sticky and gross.
In fact, today's gum wall is the product of just a few years of gum sticking. The alley was steam cleaned 4 years ago, with workers removing more than 907 kilos of gum. As soon as it was cleaned, the gum started appearing on the walls again. And in the age of Instagram and social media, the gum wall keeps attracting more and more visitors, all looking for that perfect selfie moment.
Pretty crazy. It's awesome. Interesting. I like it. It's something that's unique. It's disgusting.
Disgusting. I think it's just beautiful because it's so colorful. People have been creative to try to make it stand out. It's just an amazing thing to see that something people would typically see as gross as to something beautiful.
With another 5-yearly cleaning expected soon, gum chewers will soon have a fresh brick canvas to decorate when they visit Seattle.
It's kind of gross.
Very gross, but it's very interesting too.
Art.
Yeah,
yep.
a lot of
art in Seattle.
Helen Sea, EMTV's World News.
This is Monday's news. We'll take a look at some sporting action in Trukai Sports when we return.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with Rugby League, and after the Rugby League Nines World Cup, PNG will now prepare for their next assignment against Fiji. The Kumals will take on Fiji in the second match of the Oceania Cup in New Zealand.
Opportunity for
It is not certain if some players who recently took part in the 9th World Cup over the weekend will be included in the Kumuls 13th team for the next match. One player who may be missing the Kumuls next match is Adene Gebi. Gebi, who signed a contract with the Rabbitohs, might miss the next few matches due to the NRL pre-season training.
Couple of concern with Adene signed a contract with Sydney Rabbitohs, so each club, because he's a new player, they might need him to do his full pre-season down there. So we want to make sure we allow him to go as well and be part of that. But that's up to the club if they want him to be there. We don't have any option, but to make sure let him go because that's his first year. And if he does a good pre-season with the club, that's going to help him in future, yeah.
Coach Michael Morrow and his selectors will be naming a side to take on the Fiji Batties on the 9th of November before they play the Great Britain Lions on the 16th of November in Port Moresby.
After the 9th, we break camp on the 20th in Sydney, so boys have a week off and then get back into camp on the 28th of this month. Injuries, that's the thing, suspension, so yes, all those things we consider before we finalizing the 20-man squad. But we have a final squad there. So.
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
The Coca-Cola Impetus Cup leg of competition for NCD and Central is set for early December. So far, only one team, ID24, has paid the registration fee, with only 16 spots available for NCD and Central respectively. Time is running out, with more than 20 teams having shown interest.
It's the off-season in rugby league, and the biggest off-season tournament, the Coca-Cola Impetus Cup, is again making its return for the 2019 season. Port Moresby and Central Province will be part of the southern leg of the competition, and it is set to kick off in early December.
Calendar schedule Impetus Cup in December 13th, 14th, 15th. Supposed to know when I'm down on the time, but next weekend, which will be 18, 19, 20.
The competition is looking to make the kick-off time with already teams putting in their interests, with clubs like ID24, Border Storms, Paga Panthers, Royals Brothers and PNG Ports Rainbow Rangers showing interest. Director CCIC, NCD and Central, Simon Maima, says only 16 spots are up for grabs in NCD and Central respectively.
Definitely, I've been running with 16 for the last 4 years, and with 16 is a good figure to make a draw, went down to finals, 16 and 8, so it's always even when you come to 16.
So far, only one club has paid their 1,000 kina registration, the ID24 club. Maima added that one of the new inclusions in the competition was the introduction of player profiles for the teams. Maima said that this will make it easy for scouts to identify talents and also help to identify players that are playing in more than one club.
We're trying to pick some of the loopholes, like players taking part in NCD leg. After the tournament, they are already up in the Highlands taking part up there, so we cannot really identify who was down there, who was up there. So in the player profile, we can identify players. In the event of a selection, we can easily tell that this is the player because they have different names and different faces, so that will mainly focus on that.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV Sports.
Last year's NCD Governors Cup winners, ID24, are the first team to pay the registration fee in the Impetus Cup NCD competition. Club patron Derek Mara says it's all about early preparation and giving the youth the opportunity to play rugby league.
ID24 is the first team to register their interest, paying the 1,000 kina registration fee in the NCD leg of the Coca-Cola Impetus Cup. The team is last year's winner in the National Capital District Governors Cup. Their patron and owner of the ID24 brand, Derek Mara, says it's all about early preparation.
Coca-Cola Cup already finished with the team structure and the players as well. We got a uniform set, and with the uniform we got special consideration to West Papuans, where at the bottom of the jersey will be West Papuan freedom, free West Papuan. So that's the awareness that we want to give.
The team already has a player base selected from players around the city of Port Moresby and outside Central Province, and are preparing to defend the NCD Governors Cup and also be a strong opponent in the Ipatus Cup.
This consists of all youths selected the city, even to Sogeri League and Central as well. What we did was to get collective players, and the main objective of the team is to create pathway, not just to play for the cup or play for the reward that is there, but making it ready for future tournaments to come.
The team is a way for the company to give back to the community, with players picked given the opportunity to play in a well-established club.
The 24 came into with the consideration that there are players, potential players, are left out from being in it. So that's where, regardless of where you are in NCD, we're looking at modern villages back to as far as Central Sogeri.
Owner Derek Mara says the name ID24 is not associated with the caller ID by Digicel, but is part of his life story.
ID24 is a company. It's not a Digicel. We are not a Digicel like it used to ring in the bells or mobiles that ID24, no hard time. Please call me.
Really Sukina National, EMTV Sports.
Don't go anywhere. Trukai Sports will continue with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To some football news now, and teams who are yet to pay their affiliation fees to the Port Moresby Soccer Association will be heavily penalised. They risk being relegated and out of consideration for next year's competition.
It was a slow finish to the season yesterday for the Port Moresby Soccer Association, with the last matches played for the season. But there is a need to clear out the financial status of some of the teams in the competition.
In this situation,
the competition management has announced those clubs that have not paid in full their affiliation fees for each of the divisions in the competition.
One of our issues coming to the last weekend is that the payment of registration fees. About 3/4 of the clubs have not fully paid the registration fee.
The deadline for the payment of registration has been given as the 27th of October for teams to pay their dues to the competition. Punishment for clubs could be relegation to lower divisions, and for teams finishing off in the top 3 not paying their fees will see them lose their top 3 statuses.
The penalties they'll face could see them being relegated to the lower division, the next lower division. And the 3 top clubs that don't pay the registration in full could see the awards being forfeited.
You might be wondering why the competition has ended without any finals. Well, for PMSA, this is the second year of trialling a new league format where only the top 3 teams, after all season scheduled matches have been completed, are crowned winners. No finals playoff, just who gets the top points is the season champion.
We're trialing it and we are going to review our competition format. Some people are saying it's not a good format, some people are saying it's a good format. So we will sit down and review after 2 years of trialing. There are formats where we can play the league system and also play the grand final, the top 4. So we will look at how we can merge properly and move forward.
Fidelis Sukina National, EMTV Sports.
To the Rugby World Cup, in Japan is now out from the World Cup after being ousted by South Africa. They beat Ireland, they beat Scotland, but in the end, South Africa proved a step too far for the Brave Blossoms.
High emotion and high hopes for Japan's first ever Rugby World Cup playoff match. But in barely 3 minutes, South Africa reminded them who the Tier 1 team is. Japan's trademark fast hands met by the brute force of the Springboks, at times a little too strong.
That's a lifting tackle.
Referee Wayne Barnes already under fire for this call in particular, not even bothering to use the TMO on this spear tackle from box prop Tendai Mtawarira. It's understood Japan's Keita Inagaki sustained a broken rib.
It's a yellow card, it's pretty simple, lifted the guy up and jumped him on his head, so that's a yellow, and sometimes 50% of the time I would say it'd be a red.
Japan took 80% of possession in the first half, cutting the Springboks' lead to just 2 points.
We were nervous at half time.
when we had our discussion at halftime, it wasn't really harsh words. It was more trying to calm the guys down.
And it worked. The second half, a one-sided contest. Japan torn apart by one of the most ruthless packs in the game.
That is remarkable.
South Africa running out to a 26-3 victory, booking their place with a semi-final matchup against Wales and ending a World Cup story that's captivated the rugby world.
You can be proud of the way you're hosting this World Cup. You can be proud of the way your team performed to make the top 8. And to top your pool against Tier 1 nations.
Canterbury's Luke Thompson barely able to carry himself after the match, battered, bruised and heartbroken.
At that level, you make small mistakes and get punished. But sure, we're proud.
They may be out of the World Cup, but Japan's already achieved a victory that looked impossible 5 weeks ago.
And that story wraps up Chukai Sports for this evening. We go for our final break. When we come back, I'll look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
I'll look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Fine weather in Port Moresby and Daru. Light rain and showers expected in Kerama and Alotau. Partly cloudy for Popondetta. To the Momase region, cloudy weather and some showers over the next 24 hours for Leh and Wau. Light showers in Madang, Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, some showers and thunderstorms expected in Lorangau and Buka. Rain and showers in Kavia, Kokopo, Rubao and Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, all the major centres, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabek can all expect rain showers and thunderstorms over the next 24 hours. A look at the forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru and waters of West New Britain seas 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerama, Newell Island, Hood Point, Arama Coast to Samai Island, and waters of eastern and western Middle Bay Islands, and waters of Finchafen through Vitias and Dampier Strait to Siasi Islands to Long Island seas 2.5 to 3 meters. Waters of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel to Finchafen, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Long Island to Karkar Island, Medang, Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo, and the northern PNG Indonesian border. And waters of East New Britain to New Island and Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. And waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. And a look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea sees moderate to rough with southeasterly winds at 20 to 33 knots. Solomon Sea sees moderate to rough with southeasterly winds at 20 to 33 knots as well. Bismarck Sea sees moderate to rough with southeasterly winds at 20 to 33 knots. And the Pacific Ocean sees light with southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And before we go, a recap of our top stories this evening. Prime Minister James Marape urges Papua New Guineans to be economically independent. The Bougainville Referendum Commission opens postal voting applications. And family of slain policeman in shock following his killing in Hela Province. That's the way it is today, Monday the 21st of October 2019. On behalf of the EMTV News team right around the country, pleasant viewing. Good night.